Sean Gibbons says Isaac Cruz is the next face of Mexican boxing. Let me tell you why I got a problem with that. It has nothing to do with Isaac and everything to do with Sean Gibbons. Let's talk.
Push the weight and no flex. The live is one in the six. With the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Let's go straight to it. This is a boxing scene. I just saw this and I just figured it was interesting. As soon as I see this man's name in it, I say, okay, it says Isaac Cruz is the next face of Mexican boxing, says handler Sean Gibbons. You see, when I mention names and I put emphasis on names, you guys need to take note. I'm saying it for a reason. All right, this actually has nothing to do with Isaac Cruz. This is a knock towards him. If you watch me, you know that I love Isaac Cruz's story. This is another man living paycheck to paycheck, trying to figure out where his next dollar's coming from. He got an opportunity versus Tank Davis, and he hasn't looked back since. I am so happy for this young man. And if he turns out to be the face of Mexican boxing, so be it, because he's getting it from the gutter. But what I also will say is that he's aligned himself with somebody like Sean Gibbons, who not only has, I guess you can say, the gift of gab, but he has a whole lot of privilege and a checkered past that nobody seems to want to pay attention to. Now, I also want to point this out, man. In case y'all forgot, let me remind y'all. Isaac Cruz's last fight was against Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa was on another show, and forgive me, it's a Spanish-speaking boxing channel, and salute to them. I have their face in my head. I forget the name. But y'all can YouTube it for those of you that speak Spanish. And Gamboa said, yo, look, man, I got poisoned. And I knew to go right after the fight. I went straight to the hospital. He said he had documentations. He held up the papers on the fella's live stream. It was in Spanish. I couldn't understand anything. But my brothers and sisters that do speak Spanish went over there, and their minds were blown. Now, you couldn't see what was written in the documentation, but he said that, man, I got poisoned, man. There was something wrong in that fight. And he says he has proof. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything since then. It's been a couple of months now. Okay, but, you know, sometimes things get swept under the rug. Sometimes things are handled financially behind closed doors with the agreement that this doesn't get out. And y'all know what I'm talking about. There are situations where it's like, yo, how do we make this go away? How much money do you need? And the trade-off is don't say anything. Now, I'm not saying that Isaac had anything to do with it. He's just a fighter that shows up. I'm not saying he had anything to do with it, but I'm saying that Gamboa said it was foul play. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Sean Gibbons is in Isaac Cruz's corner. And this guy is no stranger to controversy. But let me read this article. This is boxing scene. Last time Cruz fought in Los Angeles, it was in a headlining fight against Gervonta Davis. The fight closed the curtains for the arena formerly known as the Staples Center, which is now billed as the Crypto.com Arena. A hard-hitting Cruz will return where he enjoyed a breakout performance, albeit in a losing effort versus Davis when he takes on fellow Mexican veteran contender Eduardo Ramirez. The 12-round WBC lightweight title eliminator will serve as a co-main on Fox pay-per-view headliner Andy Ruiz versus King Kong Ortiz. Cruz has kept climbing the ladder ever since making his United States debut less than 3 years ago. The 5'4" nicknamed Pitbull strung 5 stateside wins together to set himself up for a slugfest with Davis. Cruz's ascent can be partly credited to the matchmaking of longtime figure Sean Gibbons. Now, wait a minute. I'm reading this for the first time, ladies and gentlemen. Now, wait a minute. They said that he, with 5 wins. Let me read that again. 5 wins. Right? He's taking on Mexican contender Eduardo Ramirez. Okay, climbing the ladder since of making stateside debut less than 3 years ago. 5'4" inch and Pitbull strung 5 stateside wins together to set himself up with a slugfest of Davis. Wait a minute. That's kind of not accurate. Y'all know why that's not accurate? Do y'all have short-term memory? How did he get that Davis fight? Was it because of those 5 wins, or was it because that Rolly got caught up in some weird grape charges? And y'all know what I'm saying, because I got to be careful on these YouTube airwaves. That weird grape charge. You remember when those women came out of nowhere and said they were assaulted by him? Remember, there was videos all over the place, and I reported on it, and I did say it seems strange. Let's not condemn Rolly. Let's see what happens. And those women got on Twitter, and as soon as he landed the Tank fight, these women came out of nowhere talking about we're going to talk to the police, and Rolly was never arrested. Nothing happened, and those women disappeared. But in the meantime, while Rolly was going through that, now, family, follow me on this. Don't come in my chat talking about, oh, well, they fought and Tank knocked them out. That's not my point. I never thought that Rolly was going to beat Tank. What I'm talking about is the circumstances in which Rolly didn't fight Tank at first, which is how Cruz got the fight. That was supposed to be Rolly that night. But he got jammed up with these ridiculous charges, and I'm calling them ridiculous because nothing happened. He was never arrested, nothing. And then enter Isaac Cruz, who is promoted by, managed by, whatever, by Sean Gibbons. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out, matter of fact, Rachel Donaire, Nonito Donaire's wife, pointed that out too. And Salute the Trail Boxing Talk pointed it out on their show, on their airwaves. Those women came out of nowhere, and somehow Sean was involved in that. Those charges came up. That was enough to postpone the fight. Hey, man, I got a guy that could take Rolly's spot. And Cruz did a lot better than people thought. Now, it sounds like something out of a movie. But let me continue reading this article, and I'm going to show you why it's not far-fetched. Okay, they say Cruz's ascent can be partly credited by the matchmaking and longtime boxing figure Sean Gibbons. They refer to him as a boxing figure. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to remind y'all why this is weird. When Manny Pacquiao's longtime handler and current head of MP Promotions was asked about Cruz's promise and potential, he gave a glowing review about his pupil. Isaac Cruz is the next face of Mexican boxing after Canelo Alvarez. Gibbons told BoxingScene.com in an interview, Isaac Cruz is so hot right now. If he does what he's supposed to do with Ramirez, his it factor will increase. He's a fighter people are noticing. That's how PBC and Al Haven build stars. They give fighters like Isaac Cruz the biggest and best platforms to fight on. Look, this is an interesting read, but like I said, you see, and I'll put this link in the description, but I'm gonna put another link in the description too. Okay, you see Isaac here, and this is the knock towards Isaac. I brought up the Yuriorkis Gamboa situation, and I find it strange now that he claims that happened to him. Now I don't know what happened with that. But he claims that happened to him, and Sean Gibbons is involved. Let me put up his picture. This is Sean Gibbons, y'all. All right, for those of you that don't know, he's a former fighter. His last fight was in 1996. He never fought anybody. I'm looking at his box rec right now. He never fought anybody that I recognize. I'm just, skimming through it. He started his career in 85. He never really did anything. He was a light heavyweight. 14 wins, 9 knockouts, 7 losses, 3 by knockout, 3 draws, whatever. All right. But look, man, controversy was surrounding the Gamboa fight because he said that, hey, man, I got poisoned. I don't know what happened with that. The thing with Rolly Romero happened. Those women came out of nowhere, and he blew his payday at first. And then enter Isaac Cruz, who's managed by who? Matchmaked by who? This guy, Sean Gibbons. All right? But let me remind you who he is, because I've said this before. All right? I've said this before. And sometimes y'all either have short-term memory or y'all have ADD. Sean Gibbons is fired by Bob Arum. Sean Gibbons, a top-ranked matchmaker and one of the figures being investigated in an ongoing boxing probe by the FBI and the New York Police Department, has been fired by top-ranked President Bob Arum, according to a source. Gibbons, who worked under Top Rank's primary matchmaker, Bruce Trampler, could not be reached for comment. Gibbons asked 2 heavyweights to deliberately lose fights, according to a 1999 Miami Herald story, a charge Gibbons rebutted. Andre Smiley told the newspaper Gibbons offered him bonuses to fall down in matches. Mike Smith told the Oklahoma Department of Labor that Gibbons often asked him to throw fights. Gibbons labeled those charges a complete lie. FBI agents raided Arum's Las Vegas office last week. They raided his Las Vegas office last week, seizing computers, medical records, fight tapes, contracts, and other financial documents. Do y'all remember this? Do y'all remember this? Okay. Employees at Top Rank are operating under the assumption their offices are still bugged. I'll put this link in the description also. But this was Sean Gibbons. Y'all remember this? Y'all remember when Bob Arum and Top Rank got raided by the FBI? Sean Gibbons was in the middle of that. In this article that I'm going to leave, this from the LA Times. This article, I'm going to leave this link in the description. It's fired by Bob Arum. And somehow this guy still has a job. And he gave the PBC a big old fat shout out. You see, a lot of y'all will come in here and say, oh man, the LDBC and the PBC and y'all love Al Heyman. But listen, I love boxing, but I will call BS when I see it. This guy has a bad record, and somehow he's working for the PBC. Y'all think we have this unconditional loyalty to the PBC? You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. They hired this guy. This guy's bad news. So this isn't a shot towards Isak. What I'm saying is, in this article that I saw on Boxing Scene, link will be in the description, I don't care what he says about Isak Cruz. I don't care what he says about any fighter, because I don't trust this guy. I also did a story on him months ago. I'll put that link in the description for you. So I don't care what he says, but I just wanted to remind you of who he is. And I need Isak to be careful. I like that kid. Sky's the limit for this kid and this atmosphere of boxing. He can go in any direction. I don't want to see him go downward. And I don't want to see him to get brought down by rubbing elbows with a guy like this, because I don't trust him. So salute to Isak. Good luck to him in his next bout. And be careful running around with devils like this. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Bronx on deck.
Move!